Welcome to the Success Series podcast brought to you by the Presto Post, which is an online magazine whose mission is to produce articles that add value to your life, that inspire you, that teach you, that encourage deeper thinking, that stop you right in your tracks, that actually mean something, and that are evergreen. This podcast is all about that. The show is also brought to you by SiteGround. SiteGround are perhaps the number one company when it comes to developing your own website. They have 24/7 and instant customer service, which is outstanding. Super fast web hosting, and both user-friendly and non-user-friendly, or in other words, developer interfaces, which make building, editing and maintaining your website an absolute breeze. This advertisement is as personal as you can get. SiteGround are the folks behind our own website, the Presto Post, and having been through several web hosts prior to trying them, I don't say this lightly, they are indeed the best, and we highly recommend them. If you have a website or are looking for a more reliable and faster host, or have no website and really want one, SiteGround are your number one choice. To get a nice intro offer and to help support this show, go to prestopost.org/ads and click the link, which will take you straight to their site. The Success Series podcast is all about the secrets, recipes and philosophies of some of the world's most famous and successful people, be them actresses, actors, entrepreneurs, composers, painters, investors, authors, philosophers, journalists, you name it. Each episode features one person and typically 7 to 10 different pieces of advice. But these podcasts are not interviews done by us. What we do instead is comb the internet platforms such as Facebook and YouTube and SoundCloud for any recordings and audio clips that already exist, study them and then separate the wheat from the chaff. These podcasts are the wheat, or better put, the audio equivalent of your favourite superfood. Not a fan of superfoods? Well, then consider them the audio equivalent of the food item that you just can't live without, be that baked beans, be it pizza, be it pasta, whatever. Anyway, enough about food, which is making me hungry. On to the show. Today's show features lessons from Chris Pratt. Chris is an American actor who is perhaps best known for his roles in Jurassic World and Guardians of the Galaxy, and for those who are able to identify a man by his voice, playing the role of Emmet in the Lego Movie. Other notable films you may know include Zero Dark 30, Delivery Man and Passengers with Jennifer Lawrence. The Marvel fans amongst you may know that he will play the role of Star-Lord in the new film Avengers Infinity War, set to be released in May next year. Star-Lord, of course, is the role that he played, is the character that he played in Guardians of the Galaxy number 1 and 2. Chris is currently 38, and whilst his name has exploded onto the screen only in the last couple of years or so, he has been acting since a young age. His first film was Cursed Part 3, which came out in 2000. How he ended up in this film, though, is quite interesting. Chris was waiting tables at the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company restaurant in Maui, Hawaii. And yes, those of you who are familiar with Forrest Gump will know that that is straight out of Forrest Gump. In fact, this restaurant was set up 2 years after the Forrest Gump was released, based on the popularity of the film. And the restaurant has gone on to be quite successful. So he was waiting tables there when one day he found himself chatting to actress and director Rae Chong. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. When she asked him if he could act, and he replied something along the lines of, yeah, of course I can, which, as you'll hear in the podcast, was not strictly true. And so, his career in acting began. In 2015, Time named him one of the 100 most influential people in the world on their Time 100 annual list. He's one of the most popular and exciting actors at the moment. Is Chris Pratt, and what follows is 7 separate sections, in which he discusses the most important factors that have influenced the position that he finds himself in today. Number 1. Continuous learning is essential if more success, opportunity, wealth, and even happiness is in your interest. And it should be. Continuous learning, though, does not necessarily mean applied study. No. It means learning from everybody you meet and every situation you find yourself in. It means having an open approach to life. It means looking for not just lessons, but reminders all of the time. In fact, it is reminders that we all need the most. When you start to pay attention to people, to your circumstances, to your environment, It's almost like lessons present themselves. For life is always speaking to us. The problem is that very few of us pay attention. Here's Chris talking about where most of his learning came from. On the set, getting uncomfortable, sucking up all the advice and wisdom and habits of those around him. In other words, being a human sponge.
Some jobs you learn by going to college and they give you an education, then you bring that to your work. And some jobs you learn by just being on the job. And from Cursed Part 3 on all the way up to Jurassic World, my knowledge of how to be on a set, how to act, and how to handle myself on set and approach work is continuing to grow. I've learned a lot on every job. It would be smart when on a job to be a sponge. Pick somebody and learn from them. I'm getting to the point now where I have more experience than a lot of the people that are on the set, and I'm actually at a point where I can teach other people, so that's pretty cool too.
Number 2. There are very few things that are crystal clear in life, which is exactly why having crystal clear, specific goals is so important.
You come to Hollywood and you're chasing this dream, you want to be an actor, you know? Like, there's not a ton of milestones that are crystal clear that you know what they look like. Because for the most part, the things that are going to help you get to your goal are movies that haven't been written yet, they're jobs that haven't existed yet. You're kind of giving yourself over to this thing saying like, please, I don't want to be a waiter anymore. I want to be an actor, you know?
Yeah.
And that's that. And so there's very few things that are crystal clear, like images of what you would want. But one of them is to work with an icon, to work with somebody like a Steven Spielberg. And so so that to me was one of, you know, my goals. You wouldn't even want to say it out loud because it'd be so ridiculous to say,
yeah.
What do you want to do, kid? Well, I want to work with Steven Spielberg. And they'd be like, nah, I don't know, you know?
Number 3. It is not a panacea, but you do have to love what you do, even if it involves doing things that you don't particularly love.
That's what I wanted to be when I grew up when I was a kid. I wanted to be a stuntman. And my brother and I both were going to be a stuntman team, and we would throw each other down the stairs to practice. Never get injured, you know, we would just like fall out of trees and hit each other with the car or fall off a bike or do like cool stunts. And so like the fact that I get to do some stunts, I shouldn't say that I do all my stunts. I have Joe Buccaro is an excellent stuntman, and we have a great stunt crew that works really hard on our show. But when they write something physical and like a physical comedy bit, I'll usually try 1 or 2 on my own to do, and that's really fun.
Number 4. You have to develop a thick skin. This will enable you to get loads of experiences under your belt and to learn, to grow, and more importantly, to properly deal with criticism.
When I was 17, I graduated high school, and I moved out and became a door-to-door salesman. And
selling Kirby vacuum cleaners?
No, selling much lower priced items, coupons for businesses in the service industry. 4 oil changes for $20, 3 or 4 trips to a day spa for $35.
A packet.
Yeah, it was just 1 coupon.
Oh.
I'd walk around and be like, hi, I'm from Meineke. Here you go. 4 oil changes, $20. Pretty great, right? Cash, check, or credit card today, and we'll take that. No? Okay. You too, sir. Please don't stick your dog on me.
Couple doors slammed in your face?
Oh, God, yeah. Well, I did the job for about 1.5 years.
Jesus.
Got really good at it. Was salesman of the year for the company.
Shut the f*** up.
And got a free trip to Jamaica.
What?
Yeah, I became a manager within 6 weeks. I had a crew. I was the perfect mixture of enthusiasm
and size
and naivete to answer an ad that says, do you like rock and roll music? Do you want to make money? I was like, holy shit, yes I do. So what's this rock music? Okay, you're selling coupons? Sweet. No, you don't. They don't sell coupons. We're in advertising. Oh, okay. So anyways, I opened my own business in Colorado when I was 19 and just lost my ass. Point being, high turnover rate in
Wait a minute.
Seattle.
We went from door to door, year and a half. Trip to Jamaica. How did we get to Colorado?
That's the whole point. Is if you do well, one day you can have your own office.
Ah.
And that was.
We'd like you to run the office in Colorado.
Yes, which I did. but failed miserably. They put a lien on my minivan. Pretty bad. But backing up to answer how I got into stand-up comedy, there was a really high turnover rate in Seattle. We just like 1 or 2 new guys a week who'd end up quitting by the end of the week. A lot of the money that you make is just from them like selling 3 or 4 and then leaving because it's just the shittiest job anybody's ever done. It's great prep for being an actor in terms of
lying.
In terms of lying, walking into a room, feeling comfortable, and having thick skin. There's no better.
Wow, thick skin for sure.
Oh my God!
To face all that rejection.
Oh yeah, people now are like, God, I just can't handle all the rejection as an actor. I'm like, F you, dude. They invite you there for an audition. You're not like sneaking in some side door to try to sell you something for set. Anyways, so you can tell me I'm as fat as I want, or or as you want. You can tell me anything you want, and it's not going to hurt my feelings. I've got really thick skin from being a door-to-door salesman.
5. The line between confidence and overconfidence is a tricky one indeed. On the one hand, it is impossible to live in the modern world without having unjustified confidence in some form or another. On the other hand, there is something off-putting, stupefying, and delusional about excessive overconfidence, or simply just irrational confidence. That said, however, it is an undeniable and perhaps unfortunate fact about life that confidence outweighs truth. You could even say that it is more important than truth. How? Consider the confident male who asks out the female and gets a yes, right in the face of the far better looking male, the attractive one in the eyes of the female, but who was too afraid to ask. Consider the charisma and charm of Barack Obama, and, albeit of a totally different type altogether, the bold confidence of Donald Trump. Consider the confident interviewee versus the insecure one. Consider the confident leader versus the shy one. Consider the confident sportsman versus the one riddled with doubt. Even when the lack of confidence is indeed just, that is, it is correct and perhaps wise to be less confident in the given situation, it is still more attractive to the masses, and perhaps ultimately wiser, to be more confident. Another general truth about life is that the optimistic person will spot more opportunities and typically have more friends and happiness than the pessimistic person, even though pessimism is arguably the more rational and correct approach to life. The takeaway from this is twofold. First is to simply be aware of the unknowable power of confidence and the necessity. The second is that it is seriously easier and simpler and far more effective to act your way into a new way of thinking than it is to think your way into a new way of acting. This doesn't mean it's easy, of course, just easier. Now over to Chris, who talks about how overconfidence made it all happen for him.
I have a plan.
You've got a plan.
Yes. It was less about what I did and more about just what she was in need of at the time. She was like 5 days away from starting her directorial debut and hadn't cast a role in it yet. There was a role left uncast, and she didn't have the money to pay anybody. And it was SAG signatory, so she couldn't afford to hire someone in the union. It was like the perfect mix. So I just happened to be in the right place at the right time in terms of that. And it turns out, she picked somebody who was incredibly green, but also I was pretty good at acting, you know what I mean? I'd done some theater and I'd done some stand-up comedy and I was a performer. I knew I could do it. I was far more confidence than capability at the time, but I had this fake it or make it mentality, and I saw her and I said, "Hey, I know you. You're a movie star, right?" She's like, "I'm Rae Dawn." I was like, yeah. Oh my God. Hey, what are you doing here? She's like, "Just having food." I was like, "That's crazy." She goes, "You're cute. Do you act?" I was like, "Fuck yeah. Put me in a movie." She sits back and she looks at Joel Castleberg, her producer. She goes, "Give me your number." Meanwhile, I live in a van. I was like, "All right, I'll give you my number." I gave her my friend's number so she could actually have a phone number to call. And 2 days later, I was like sitting in a room with her reading a script. She said, "You're good. We're going to use you." I said, "What? Like, that's crazy. Where do we shoot? Here on the island?" She said, "We shoot in LA." I said, "I can't afford to get to LA." She said, "Sweetie, we will fly you there." That was the moment.
6. The key to achieving superb results Worldly success, consistent growth, to getting rich and becoming really, really good at something is not what most people think nor want to hear. In fact, most people already know what it is, deep down, but they don't necessarily think of it as the secret. And they're right. It is not the secret. But the reason is not because they are yet to find the secret. It is because there is no secret. The closest piece of advice to a secret we have is the following. Get after it. Meaning, quite simply, work hard, be consistent, be disciplined, persevere, and, unfortunately, endure a shit ton of struggle. This would be a secret, of course, if everybody didn't already know it.
Can we just talk about the workout regimen? I'm very curious to know what you were doing, what you were eating.
Really?
Yes. Was it just like turkey patties or chicken or what?
That's it. I only ate turkey. No, just eat turkey every day with gravy. No, it was a really it's hard. What I should do is I should write the whole thing down and give it to people because it took a long time. There wasn't any trick to it or any secret to it. It's just a matter of getting after it. That's the problem, is people want to know what the secret is. The secret is you can't do it in a month.
Thank you. I like that.
It takes 8 months or a year or a lifetime of consistency, working out every single day, and eating properly and truly feeding yourself, not starving yourself, but giving yourself proper nutrition to heal. You have to burn off all the crap you've put in your body, and then you have to replace it with really good food and fuel. And it takes a long time, but really 8 months is not that long. I mean, what were you doing in May, right?
That was yesterday, right?
And when you're looking back, 8 months goes by really quickly. When you're looking forward, it seems like it's crazy. It's a long prospect. Even 8 hours can be a long time. But just takes a little bit of consistency, and time is going to go by just as fast whether you're doing it or not. So who do you want to be 8 months from now? You want to be in good shape, then get on it today.
And finally, number 7. The legendary Zig Ziglar used to like saying that every single one of us is in the sales business, whether we like it or not, whether we believe it or not. And he was absolutely right. We are. From finding a job, to making friends, to auditioning, to persuading the kids, to impressing on date night. As we go through life, we are on a constant mission of selling ourselves, our ideas and opinions, image, our skills, our passion. We are both the 24/7, 365-day-a-year employer of the salesperson and the very salesperson themselves. For those who are not, quote, professional salespeople, this inner salesperson is something that happens subconsciously. That is, we're not aware of it. Those who are professional salespeople know very well that everybody is in the sales game. And this gives them a one-up over most people. No, not necessarily because they're good at selling per se, although that does matter, but because they become so comfortable with failure. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of failure. A, quote, professional salesperson, barring exceptional luck, very quickly learns that selling is about opening 1,000 oysters before you find the pearl. They spend their lives having doors closed in their face, being insulted, having to overcome failure, having to defy miserableness, trying to turn no's into yeses. Sounds a lot like normal life. And this is exactly the point. It is normal life. That, unfortunately, so many people do not know how to live professionally. Here's Chris talking about how learning to deal with a fuck ton of failure was pivotal to his current success.
I remember last time you were here, you were talking about the times where you had no jobs. You were living in Hawaii.
Yeah.
You were in a trailer.
Right. Yeah, van.
A van. It was a van, so it wasn't even a trailer.
We didn't have a trailer.
It was this little thing.
We're in big time.
Thinking what?
Thinking what?
What am I going to be? What is it in this world?
I think there was a certain freedom in that moment that I wasn't really thinking about anything. This is very much the Zen of Van Maintenance. I should write my own book. Zen and the Art of Van Maintenance. I was just kind of enjoying the moment. I was about 20. I just finished a career in door-to-door sales, which lasted about 2 years.
Door-to-door sales.
Yep.
I had heard you had one of the best jobs ever, which was waiter at Bubba Gump Shrimp Company.
That's right. Yeah, I was now a
Because
waiter when I was in Hawaii, yeah.
I always love to go there to get a free lunch when I can answer the questions about Forrest Gump.
Oh, oh my God. You would be the dream patron. I wish I'd have been your waiter when you came in, because I would have tried to stump you.
They really weren't hard questions.
Yeah, we kind of we'd throw some real softballs. But I bet you could do pretty good.
So were you doing that? Quizzing?
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome to Bubba Gump Shrimp Company.
Did you?
Here you go. Here you go. Pass out the drink.
Thanks, yeah.
Drink paddle, man. Look at the drink paddles. Get yourself a margarita. Real quick, Bubba Gump, Forrest Gump trivia. What type of soda was Forrest Gump drinking when he met the president?
See, I would have completely failed.
Oh, see?
I would have, you know all that now.
14 Dr. Peppers. He had Dr.
My
Pepper.
God, when you hang with Tom Hanks, then you can just stump him.
Just
with
nail him with Bubba Gump trivia. I'm sure he would love that.
I tried to make him go with me in Santa Monica.
He wouldn't go?
Do that, and he just wouldn't.
What?
There was no sense of humor about it.
Oh, man.
It could have been you. You could have been there.
I will go.
Waiting on
I will
us
go
to
to
do
Bubba
that.
Gump Shrimp Company with you in Santa Monica.
But which was that job that helped form you to be the Chris Pratt I'm talking to today? Which of these very strange jobs?
You know, I think I was just talking to my wife about this yesterday. I think probably door-to-door sales was the best training ground to sharpen the tools that were required to go out and hit the ground, to audition and to face rejection as an actor. Over and over, expose yourself, say, here's what I got. You interested in buying? No? Cool, man. See you tomorrow. And then walk off. Like, there's a whole process to years and years of people telling you no, and an attitude that's required to be able to face that and understand where you're at. So, you know, that was there was a reason I was good at door-to-door sales, and I think that thing about me carried over into acting. And so I'd say that was the job that, you know, just walking into a room full of strangers and selling yourself. That's a big part of acting. At least getting jobs as an actor.
That helped you when you were auditioning for something where you could tell that they didn't think you were the person they were looking for.
Which is every audition. I mean, you audition. I don't know what the ratio would be, but my guess is somewhere around 25 to 50 times before you get a job, and each of those times you walk in there thinking you're the best for the role. If you're smart, that's the mindset you put yourself into. Or if you're just, you know, blissfully ignorant, like I was when I first came to Hollywood. I think I just had the benefit of being foolish. You know, I had hubris. I was like, of course you're going to hire me. You didn't? Oh, that's crazy. Well, the next guy will. They didn't either? Wait, something's going on here. 50 auditions later. One of these days, this is going to work.
Well, like when it didn't, like when you auditioned for Star Trek, what is the reaction that you get? Do you know right away that they're thinking not of you?
Yeah. On that one I was. I think there was that. I mean, I can't even tell you the number of things I went out for that I didn't get, that I was certain I wouldn't get in the moment while I was doing it. Maybe I'm a little overweight, I'm feeling insecure about the way I look, or I'm sweating halfway through the audition, or I stumble the lines, or, you know, say like, here's a camera right here, and there's this gentleman here's operating the camera. If I'm doing an audition, I see that guy's eyes just kind of glaze over halfway through my audition. Like, this is not going so well. That happens all the time, man.
It's just like,
yeah. Like, you know, and you build these relationships with these casting directors, but oftentimes you're not even meeting the casting director, you're meeting their assistant. And so you have to impress their assistant to get to the next level, a callback. Then you meet the casting director. And then if you're lucky, you get a call back from there. Then you meet the producers. And, you know, you get to the next level, Each one is a tiny victory along on your way. And especially when you're a guy who is just a waiter in Hawaii living in a van, these are all exciting. Those victories are the victories you're hanging your hat on.
well, yeah, I would think
like, sweet.
Do you not know that I was in a van in Hawaii
Exactly.
for X number of months?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you people? You know? So what was that first thing that you got that was...
The first
Was it
job
Everwood
that
TV?
I got that was like once after I'd moved to LA, because it was getting a job that moved me to LA. So then after I moved to LA, the first job that I got was a job. It was a big and a very important job for me, because it was got me my SAG card, and it was I was a guest spot on a USA show called The Huntress. starring Annette O'Toole and Jordana Spiro, and I played a character named Nick, who was like a runaway ex-boyfriend, and I had no idea what I was doing. I remember.
I gotta find this.
Oh gosh, it was bad. You can tell that at that point in my career, I could not afford a haircut, and I'd been in Hollywood probably 8 or 9 months, and I got this job, and that was my SAG card job. And at one point there was I did the scene, my first scene. I walked out, stood up, I delivered my line, cut. I was like, I think I nailed that. And the sweet camera operator walked over, just pinched my shirt, pulled me about 6 feet over to my mark, and said, "You're gonna want to stand there when you say that line so we can actually film it."
And now,
And
look
now
at
I know-
now.
now I know how to
Now
hit a
it's
mark.
everything. You know what's going
the only
on
thing
to
I
do
know.
that.
If you like the Success Series podcast, there are many ways you can support it. You can leave a review on iTunes, on our website, or any place else the podcast appears. You can share it with friends, on social media, or on your own blog or podcast. You can purchase any books we recommend in various articles on our website, the Presto post, using the hyperlinks, which will take you straight to Amazon. You can hijack the microphone the next time you find yourself in a karaoke night and yell out the URL to our podcast feed. Or you can support us directly with a donation by going to prestopost.org/support, where you'll find all the necessary links. As always, thank you for listening.